I'm Jane Merrow. As a professional actress, I had the pleasure of working with Patrick McGoohan on a number of occasions. This short film looks at where he grew up, where he first developed his love of acting, and where he honed his craft. Everyone has to start somewhere, and for Patrick McGoohan it was in Astoria, New York, where he was born. But his formative years were spent many miles from there. The McGoohan family moved from New York to Ireland, and then in 1938 to Sheffield in England. Unlike the bright cosmopolitan city it is today, with its modern shopping centre, attractive leisure areas, and the now obligatory huge eye, in the first half of the century, Sheffield was renowned for its heavy industry and was dominated by steelworks and cutlery manufacturers with tall chimneys belching smoke into the atmosphere. Like many young men of the time, once school was behind him, Patrick found employment in industry, specifically in the steel wire mills of the British Ropes Company. He once described this experience as grey, bleak, and miserably oppressive, and redolent of the dark, satanic mills of the 19th century. For someone with latent ambition and creative energies, the experience of the mills might have been crippling, but his visits to his local youth club at the St. Vincent's Roman Catholic Church in Solly Street soon led to an involvement in acting. Having a built-in stage, the club had developed a thriving drama group, and although the old hall is derelict today, it's easy to visualize the young McGoohan striding up these steps and readying himself for the evening's performance. McGoohan quickly progressed from walk-on parts to major roles, such as Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. As a labourer by day and stage star by night, Patrick must have felt very much a schizoid man. Where have I heard that before? Acting became his obsession, and with it a desire to better himself. Despite early poverty, McGoohan had received a good education and had a natural aptitude for maths. So, at the age of 17, he left those dark satanic mills for the National Provincial Bank here in George Street. His jobs were varied and far different from toiling in the factory. He did quite well in the bank, and finally being promoted to manage a sub-branch of his own in nearby Tinsley.
I like it here. Always use it for interviews. Nice and quiet. Yes, well, I must say I am considerably impressed. Of course, naturally, I shall have to discuss with my directors, but you seem admirably suited. Just to bring matters up to date, why exactly do you want this job?
It's a job. No, there isn't at all. No, you have no respect for tradition. Pardon. No respect for tradition for an old established firm of bankers. I was very good at mathematics. Oh, so were you. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in it, would we?
However, for Patrick McGoohan, the daily repetitive routine of the bank bored him, and before too long he changed career paths once again, when he took the job of running a chicken farm in Chesterfield, a town some miles away, and arguably more famous for its crooked spire than its new farm manager. Despite regular job changes, acting remained his passion, and he continued to appear in plays, and gained glowing critical reviews. The Library Theatre in the city centre was a particularly good venue, having a good rake stage, comfortable seating and boasting many facilities. It even had dressing rooms for the actors. It wasn't quite as grand as the Lyceum Theatre that stood almost next door. The Lyceum was, and still is, one of the finest professional theatres in the area, and every time Patrick walked past it, he must have dreamt of appearing in such a theatre as a professional actor. He signed off with a rousing performance as Petruchio in The Taming of the Shrew, and on impulse walked into the Sheffield Playhouse on Townhead Street and asked for a job. The Playhouse was a repertory theatre where actors were actually paid. However, Patrick wasn't employed to appear on stage, not at first anyway. He became a carpenter, building those all-important sets, then assistant stage manager, and then stage manager. One of his jobs was to find props for the various plays, and often he borrowed these from Cole Brothers, a city department store, long since demolished, that seemed to stock anything and everything. Eventually, the Playhouse managers realized he could actually act, and so began a 4-year association with the theatre in which he played numerous leading roles. At last, Patrick McGoohan evolved into Patrick McGoohan, professional actor. With the demise of the repertory theatre system, the Playhouse was pulled down many years ago and replaced with these office buildings. But Sheffield maintains a good venue for theatrical productions with the modern Crucible Theatre, replacing the Playhouse in some ways. It's built in the same city square as the Lyceum Theatre, which has itself been restored to former glories. Even the Library Theatre is still there, tucked into its own little corner by the side of the Lyceum, and still host to both amateur and professional productions. Our last McGoohan Sheffield location is this shop. It's now a jeweller, but back in 1950 it was called Wilson Peck's, a music shop. It was here that Patrick proposed to Joan Drummond, a young actress who had also been a regular at the Playhouse. Legend has it that the proposal occurred while they were standing on a particular manhole cover outside the shop. There are 4 of them, so you'll have to speculate which one it was. Everyone has to start somewhere, and for Patrick McGoohan this was the start of a career that lasted for the best part of 60 years. By 1952, Patrick had outgrown provincial theatre, and a move away from Sheffield to the bright lights of London was inevitable. I'm Jane Merrow, and I hope you've enjoyed this ramble along the first few miles of that long road to stardom.